A beautiful afternoon to you. Welcome to TV Sapientia News Hour. My name is Oluchi Ojo Bamidele. The Independent National Electoral Commission INEC has presented the upgraded voters register for political parties contesting in the November 8 Anambra Governorship Election. Speaking at INEC office in Awka, the resident electoral commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Anambra State, Dr. Queen Agu, disclosed that the voters register will be used to conduct the November 8 Anambra State Governorship Election. Dr. Agu noted that the current number of registered voters in Anambra is 2.8 million and that INEC has made all the necessary preparations for the conduct of a free, fair and credible polls. Also speaking, the director of ICT INEC Abuja, Dr. Lawrence Bayode, represented by Engineer Emeka Nnaji, whose paper centered on technology innovations for the conduct of the 2025 Anambra election, emphasized that the deployment of bimodal voter accreditation system and IREV has advanced election transparency and credibility, successfully curbing voter fraud and impersonations. The Petroleum Tankers Drivers PTD, an affiliate union of the National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers NUPENG, has its own day group known as the PTD Elders amid a feud with Dangote Refinery. Petroleum drivers from the Kaduna, Lagos, Port Harcourt and Warri zones, which disclosed this in a briefing on Friday, described the group as fake imposters hired to wreak havoc on the union. Comrade Bashir Izalan said he was surprised that a group was laying claim to the membership of the PTD NUPENG. According to him, the only recognized national chairman that they know is Comrade Ebon, saying his leadership is transparent, gives a sense of belonging. Recall that William Saporeha and Afolabi Olawale, President and General Secretary of NUPENG respectively, had in a statement last week alerted members of the public and security agents that the so-called PTD Elders Forum are infiltrators with bad motives to cause disaffection within the ranks of the genuine leadership. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, has taken a swipe at the former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, over his comments about rescuing Nigeria. Speaking with journalists on Friday in Abuja, Akume said Peter Obi could not rescue Anambra State when he served as governor, and therefore has no moral ground to talk about rescuing the entire 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory. According to Akume, Nigeria is on the path to progress under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, describing the president as a unifying leader who is at peace with Christians, Muslims, and traditionalists alike. He noted that Akume questioned those who keep talking about rescuing Nigeria, saying if Peter Obi could not rescue Anambra, how can he rescue Nigeria? He also added that some other political figures whose names he chose not to mention failed to make meaningful impact even in their own states. Nigeria's First Lady Senator Oluremi Tinubu has officially declared open the maiden Gombe Health Summit in the Northeast. Speaking at the event, Senator Tinubu commended Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya for what he described as bold and visionary reforms that have repositioned Gombe State's health sector as a model for the entire nation. The two-day summit brings together key stakeholders from within and outside Nigeria to discuss strategies for strengthening healthcare delivery in the state. The First Lady praised the governor's transformational policies, including the expansion of primary health centers, the modernization of hospitals across the 3 senatorial districts, and innovative programs to tackle child malnutrition. She noted that these efforts reflect Governor Yahaya's strong commitment to building a functional and sustainable health care. She expressed hope that this legacy of health sector reform will be sustained for generations to come. The Nigerian Police Force has seized over 210 vehicles nationwide for violating the tinted glass ban, despite a federal high court order halting the exercise. The court in Warri, Delta State, directed the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Ewetokun, to suspend the enforcement pending further proceedings. The order followed a suit filed by lawyer John Aipopo Martins, who is challenging the legality of the new regulations. The police recently resumed issuing tinted glass permits through the police specialized service automation project. This move drew criticism from motorists over alleged harassment and extortion at checkpoints. In Borno State, about 30 vehicles were impounded during the operation. The command said it is awaiting instructions from the force headquarters on whether to suspend the exercise. Police authorities insist the regulation is legal under the Motor Vehicles Prohibition of Tinted Glass Act of 1991, citing national security concerns. The Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has vowed to sanction permanent secretaries who flouted civil service rules and engaged in illegality during the 6-month emergency rule in the state. Fubara stated this while swearing in a new permanent secretary, Austin Ezekiel Hart, at the Government House, Port Harcourt, yesterday. He urged Ezekiel Hart to remain unwavering in professionalism, uphold the values of the civil service, and shun any act of illegality in the discharge of his responsibilities. The governor reaffirmed his government's commitment to due process and integrity, stressing that the civil service must remain the backbone of good governance. The Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, says the Nigerian Navy has successfully curbed piracy and other maritime crimes, resulting in improved security across the nation's waters and a rise in oil production. He made this known on Friday while commissioning new projects at the Nigerian Military School, Zaria, in Kaduna State. Ogala noted that since he assumed command, the Navy has achieved undeniable results in safeguarding the nation's maritime domain. He revealed that Nigeria's exclusive economic zone has not recorded a single case of piracy since 2022, describing it as a major milestone for the country. He said the positive results are evident in the increased oil output and the elimination of piracy in Nigerian waters. However, through enhanced operations, the Navy has now reversed the trend and restored confidence in the security of Nigerian waterways. He further explained that the Navy launched Operation Delta Sanity along with joint efforts involving other security agencies and maritime stakeholders to dismantle criminal networks and protect vital oil infrastructure. Ahead of evolving threats through technology, training and intelligence-led operations, he said this will be of capable help to Nigerian economy. The Lagos State Police Command has busted a criminal hideout in Mushin and recovered a cache of weapons, ammunition and other incriminating items. The suspects were arrested on Friday, October 3, around 10 a.m. after detectives attached to the Lagos State Task Force while on routine patrol along Empire Junction by Jibowi Inward Ikorodu Road spotted 4 young men suspected to be members of a robbery gang. Upon sighting the operative, 3 of the suspects fled the scene, but one of them, identified as Tohib Adeboye, was caught and arrested. A search of his bag led to the discovery of a locally made single-barrel cut-to-size gun, an English Beretta pistol loaded with 2 9mm live rounds, and another locally fabricated pistol with 10 live cartridges. During interrogation, Adeboye reportedly confessed that the gang had just carried out a robbery operation in Ago Iwoye, Ogun State, and were heading to New Supreme Hotel Akala Mushin, their usual base after operations. The police have since then sealed off the hotel permanently to prevent it from being used for criminal activities. The Lagos State Commissioner of Police, CP Olohundare Mushud Jimo, praised the officers for their swift response and professionalism. And from here, we move to foreign scene, where Charles Parliament has approved a constitutional amendment removing presidential term limits, a decision widely condemned by opponents of President Mahamat Debi. The amendment, backed by Debi's ruling Patriotic Salvation Movement (NPS), was passed on Friday with 236 votes in favor and none against out of 257 lawmakers. President Mahamat Debi came to power in 2021 after the death of his father Idris Deby Itno, who ruled Chad for 30 years before being killed in battle with rebels. Following his father's demise, army generals appointed Muhammad Deby as transitional president. The new amendment now extends the presidential term to 7 years and allows unlimited re-election, replacing the former 2-term limit. Opposition parties have strongly criticized the move. Maskem Koye, spokesman for the group of political actors consultation, said there is no longer any difference between the MPS and the Republic. In a letter to Parliament, former Prime Minister and RNDT leader Albert Bahimi Padake described the constitutional change as unconstitutional and authoritarian. This amendment will take effect in the next presidential election, paving way for Muhammad Deby to potentially remain in power indefinitely. A drone has killed a French photojournalist on assignment in eastern Ukraine on Friday, officials and media groups said, bringing the toll of journalists killed in the conflict to at least 17. Anthony Lalikan, 37 years, was embedded with the Ukrainian army near the front line in the Donetsk region when drones attacked the area, said authorities. Also, Ukrainian journalist Georgy Ivanchenko was wounded in the same attack, which Ukraine's military and French President Emmanuel Macron blamed it on Russia. Lalikan, an award-winning photojournalist whose work has appeared in leading French and international media, is the first journalist to be killed by a drone in the Ukrainian war. Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha said Russia continues to deliberately target journalists, calling it a heinous crime and violation of international humanitarian law. And now away from that to football, where Nigerians yesterday defeated Saudi Arabia 3-2 in a Group F match at the FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Talca, Chile. The win earned the Flying Eagles 3 points and boosted their chances of reaching the round of 16. Nasiru Salihu was the one who opened scoring for Nigeria in the 10th minute. Saudi Arabia, however, drew level in the 21st minute, but Amos Ochoche restored Nigeria's lead 7 minutes before the break. Talahaji equalized for Saudi Arabia 6 minutes into the second half, but Nigerian captain Daniel Bameyi converted a penalty to make it 3-2. The result, however, means Nigeria will qualify for the round of 16 with at least a draw against Colombia on Monday. Still on sports, Lamine Yamal has been ruled out of Spain's World Cup qualifiers against Georgia and Bulgaria this month after suffering a recurrence of his groin injury, Barcelona said on Friday. The 18-year-old winger is expected to be sidelined for up to 3 weeks after the problem resurfaced, following Wednesday's 2-1 loss to Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League. Barcelona made a statement after Yamal had been called up to the national squad, with Spain promptly confirming the news and removing him from their list. Against PSG, Yamal made his first start since August after missing 4 games while recovering from a groin injury, which drew the eye of Barcelona coach Hansi Flick, who felt it was made worse by playing in September's World Cup qualifier. To wrap it up on the news, here are the major news headlines. The Nigerian Police Force has seized over 210 vehicles nationwide for violating the tinted glass ban, despite a federal high court order halting the exercise. In Ukraine, a drone kills a French photojournalist on assignment, officials and media groups said, bringing the toll of journalists killed in the conflict to at least 17. Nigeria yesterday defeated Saudi Arabia 3-2 in a Group F match at the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. And that was the TV Sapientia News. On behalf of the technical and the editorial crew, I am Oluchi Ojo Bamidele. Thank you for choosing TV Sapientia.